You're not streaming it into the world, right?
No.
No. All right,
Okay.
we're set. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, good, cool. So, have any of you heard the term ikigai?
I have.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to figure out what that was.
Okay. So it's a Japanese concept, and the meaning of this term is reason for being. So the reason somebody gets up in the morning, like what a cool thing to have an answer to, right? And this term originated in Okinawa, Japan. And if any of you know about Okinawa, Japan, they are known for their longevity and happiness, and might have something to do with this. So finding your ikigai there in Japan, or in Okinawa, is a very personal journey. And answering these questions, these 4 questions here, represents, finding the answer to it represents the expression of your authentic self. So the 4 questions in this ikigai framework are: what am I good at? What do I love to do? What can I get paid to do? And what does the world need of me? Kind of like goes along with what you're trying to do with code, with the hackathon in a way, right? So in the Western world, we might think of this as purpose or bliss. Now, it's not what I'm going to be talking about today, but I want you to just keep this concept of the ikigai in your consciousness as we go through what I have to share with you today. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Anjali Leon. I am the founder and principal of PPL Coach. It's a boutique coaching and consulting practice. And through my practice, I offer experiential skills development workshops and innovative consulting solutions and professional leadership coaching in 3 different areas: the product, people, and personal leadership. And I take a very human-centric approach to the work that I do, and help build capacities that I believe are really, really needed for the changing world of work. And some of my specializations include design thinking and lean and agile principles and practices. And what I really love to do is help people live fully in their purpose. And I think that I probably share that sentiment with a couple of you here. I know at least I shared it with Kelly, because she had talked about it the last time as well. So through my coaching, I help people answer these 3 questions that are part of the ikigai framework, and help them uncover what their natural strengths are and what they love to do and what they can get paid to do. And you might be working with a coach doing the same thing. And Kelly helped us really answer the first 2 questions quite nicely through the Strengths Finder. How do we uncover our natural strengths? And then she shared how those natural strengths are often aligned with what brings us the most energy and what we love. But today, in the world that is fast changing, answering this 3rd question is becoming more and more difficult. Would you agree? Right? And maybe asking the question, what I can get paid for, may not be the best question to ask. Maybe there's a better question. And that's the question that I want to help us uncover today. How can I have the most impact in the work that I do? What is my game-changing impact? Because I believe that everybody has an opportunity for a game-changing impact. And if we know what that is, then regardless of what work shows up or what kinds of jobs show up, we know where our place is and what we can do, what we can offer. So I have a little question for you. I assume that everybody recognizes the faces in this slide. Yeah? So what would be one word that we could use to collectively describe this group of people? What are some words? Just, get off of mute and just throw some words out.
Legacy.
Legacy.
Influencer.
Influencers.
Game changers.
Game changers.
Innovative.
Innovative.
Successful.
Successful.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Rich.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure.
Most of those people.
Most of those people are rich. They somehow made it because they were able to show their impact in the way that made sense to them. So absolutely, really a lot of common things that we can express for this group of people. And I think that we can all agree, and I think Monica mentioned that we can say that these 10 people have made a game-changing impact. Would you say so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what if I told you that they made their game-changing impact with different natural inclinations and energy? And they were able to find out what their natural inclination and energy is to make their game-changing impact. So would you be curious to know what your game-changing impact might be?
Yes.
So let's go and take a look. So I have these 5 descriptions here. I want you to find the thing that best describes you. And if you want to use this tool, it's just a few of us, but if you'd like to use this tool, go ahead, let's go ahead and use it. It's called menti.com. So you can just go to a browser, type in menti.com, and let us know which ones align to you. What best describes you? And you can just, but once you go to menti.com, enter this code 3503242, and then you'll see this question, and you can just answer the question. You just get to answer one.
Anjali, can you say that again?
Menti.com. So it's right up here. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it. Thank you.
And hit submit, so we'll see what some of you think. Which of these best describes you? I see a little error there.
That's such a cool website, Mentimeter.
Yeah, it is really cool. Did everyone get a chance to answer? All right, we see 3 people who see possibilities that others don't and are compelled to turn them into reality. We have a person who sees patterns and trends and uses it to make things more predictable and controllable. One who believes in good relationships are the basis of success and invests in them. And another who thinks if a job is worth doing, it should be done properly. We don't have anybody in the 4th category, but these are all game-changing qualities. So just remember what your answer was, and I'm going to just share with you a little about the framework that brings up these descriptions. So the questions that I just asked you, or the descriptions that you just shared, are kind of offer as clues on a person's proclivity or your natural inclination towards something. So where did you fall? So maybe we can, anybody wants to share? If you look at this, these statements are kind of aligned to the descriptions that you just shared. So what color are you? Monica, what color are you?
Green.
Green. Anybody else wants to share what color they were?
Green.
Green.
I
think we had
a
orange.
Nikki's isn't there. Oh, is it this one maybe?
Oh yeah, mine's in the center. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Nikki, I would have imagined that you were.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at the squares and I'm like, wait, mine's not there.
I would say I was orange.
You were orange. Cool, cool. So these descriptions actually came from a study that was done. It ended up being a profile that you can actually derive called the game changer profile. And it was born because of a study that was conducted to try to be able to identify those people who could drive change through creativity and innovation. And companies wanted to be able to identify who these people were so that they could actually help them drive innovation and creativity in their organizations. And they wanted to see, are there any characteristics that are available for us to be able to find who these people are so that we can identify them and nurture them. What's interesting about this group of people that they realized was they don't typically stay in a company very long unless they're able to do, unless they're able to make these possibilities turn into reality or make an impact in these organizations. So they did find two factors that distinguished this group of people from the rest. One is they were high in imagination. So let me just all these windows are a little bit. So they were high in imagination and high in obsession. So imagination being the capacity for original thought. They generated new ideas and new concepts very easily. It wasn't a big deal for them at all. They were just natural idea generators. And they were high in obsession. So they were a little OCD. They had a strong compulsion to turn their ideas into reality. They could not let go of their ideas. They called these people the game changers. But in the course of their studying about game changers, they also noticed that they could identify people with other proclivities, other gifts. They identified people that were strategists. Strategists were those who were high in imagination, but were much more pragmatic. These were the people who were able to find patterns and trends and take those ideas that might have been created by the game changers and put some action behind them. They were able to take where we are today and map what that future might look like, map towards that future. Also the implementers. So these were pragmatic people who were action focused. What they wanted is to deliver tangible outcomes. That's where they got their energy. They wanted to make things happen. Then there were the polishers. The polishers were action focused, but they were obsessed about getting things right. They pored over the details and they had a hard time letting go, but these people were great at taking something and making it better. And then there were the playmakers. And we know Nikki is one of them. So they are the ones who use their natural proclivities with a relationship focus. So they were great at getting people together to work towards a common goal. And they took great pleasure in seeing other people shine. They didn't need the limelight. So as I'm describing these to you, do you think that you know people in your organization who kind of fall into one of these categories, or maybe two of these categories?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And when they're actually in a role that allows them to bring their natural proclivity into focus, what do you notice about them?
They're happier.
They're happier, yeah?
Yeah. I agree.
Anything else?
Engagement is higher, and
Yeah.
they're really good in those areas. They're successful in them. That's where they
They're
shine.
naturally successful. Yeah, and when they're put in those roles, they're naturally successful. And they really are able to make an impact in that role. So are you curious to know which of those famous people and where would they fall? Yeah, let's check it out. So if you found yourself in one of these categories, the other people you keep company with are from this list. I don't think they actually took the profile. So this is from the people who created the profile, their best guess of these famous people.
I would think Oprah was like a playmaker.
Yeah.
because she's, you know,
That's
she
true.
has
Yeah.
a really good relationship with
She
everybody.
knows a lot of people.
Yeah, but she,
Yeah.
she probably, you know, for a lot of people, it is this two, you know, they might be high in two factors. They might, and sometimes they're very high in one, and they might be slightly less in another. But everybody has a little bit of all of these. It's just where is it strongest? And I think if you just think about Oprah, yeah, she's a playmaker, but you notice that she actually applies it very, very strategically in how she runs her business, and how she runs her show. So anyway, this is just kind of like to tantalize your own imagination. So when we think about impact is our natural proclivity plus our skill set. So our natural proclivity is what we're born with. It is just who we are, and you'll see that how our you know, our early life might shape where we end up or where we land, but this natural proclivity is always there. And sometimes we don't nurture it enough, and we might kind of move in a different direction. But when you know your natural proclivity and you develop your skills in that area is where you can really make an impact. So for me, this particular profile is super interesting when we think about teams, because that's my primary focus, working with teams. So again, this is what the GC index, if you look at it from another, using another picture, this is what it looks like, pulling it all together. If you think about a team, what of these roles, if you think about each of these as roles, the game changer, strategist, playmaker, implementer, polisher, what do you think would be important in a team?
The playmaker to
Playmaker.
connect them all.
Playmaker to connect them all, yeah.
The question was,
They're all important.
what's important?
Would you need all of these on a team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we construct a team, wouldn't it be nice to actually have people who are naturally inclined to these various roles? If there's one person who can do it all, great, but that's very rare. And so we want to be able to understand who do we have on our teams that we can actually have enough of all of these roles. Because if you have too many of one, what do you think is going to happen?
Fist fights.
Yeah, so we
Too
were
many
just talking
chiefs,
about,
not enough Indians.
depends on the role. So like if you have too many strategists, we definitely have too many chiefs, not enough Indians. What if we have too many implementers?
We were looking at it, Anjali, and Monica was just saying to me in my ear, was just like, when we're looking at this, it actually looks a lot like our team here. Like, I feel like, I mean, I don't know what your thought was, but I'm looking at the red, like Joe being implementer. Like, I feel like Ronnie is definitely a lot of the polisher. I know that's the one that I was kind of going back and forth, whether I was that one or the yellow, but you're definitely the green. Like, yeah.
And you're obviously the burgundy in the middle. Like, come on, that's Nikki.
Yeah.
That's pretty
and
cool.
so yeah, and so when we have all of these on a team, we have a highly impactful team. So when we're thinking about the hackathon, and you were saying the last time we had a lot of developers and not enough project managers and not enough UI UX designers, guess what you were missing? You're probably missing a strategist, and you're probably missing a polisher, and you're probably missing a game changer. You're probably missing a playmaker. You probably had a lot of implementers. So as we think about a team, we want to think about how do we construct a team to be a balanced team. Maybe you need a different configuration of this team depending on what the team does. If it's a C-suite team, maybe you want a different percentage of game changers, strategists, polishers, and implementers versus a software development team. The proportion might be different. So for me, this became a really, really good insight into what is my contribution if I was on a team, what is my impact on the team, and who else needs to be on the team for us as a collective group to have a game-changing impact. So if we think about the ideas and contributions of each of these particular roles, you know, if you want some new ideas and possibilities, if you want kind of a novel thinking on your team, you want some game changers. If you want clear direction and focus, you definitely want some strategists to be able to map what that might look like. If you want people to just shape the plans and deliver on tangible outcomes, implementers. Continuous improvement and pursuit of excellent, polishers. Getting the best from other people, playmakers. On an agile team, we have certain roles that actually align very, very nicely with these different proclivities. What was interesting when COVID hit, I know we don't want to talk about it, but just imagine when COVID hit, which of these proclivities, or which of these roles did we need right in the beginning, or even now for that matter?
Game changers.
Game changers, because we're in a place of such uncertainty. We can't rely on past patterns and trends to determine what the future will look like. So we want to be able to have people who are able to kind of transform the future, futurists, and from the strengths finder the profile, the strengths finder profile, somebody who might have a futurist kind of strength in their profile. So
Kelly?
who do you think is most uncomfortable when what happened with us with COVID? Who do you think was most uncomfortable?
The strategist?
Sure.
The strategist.
Yeah.
The strategist, because they really didn't know what could they used to like knowing where things are, relying on patterns, relying on something that they could feel they had control over, and so being in a place of uncertainty is very uncomfortable for them. But it is the combination of these that can actually get us through. With the game changers, really, we need the game changers right now to really define what it will look like, and then the strategists to take those ideas and put some action behind them, and then the implementers to actually implement those actions. So any thoughts about this that I just shared? This picture that I'm sharing with you, what's coming up for you?
Well, my number one strength on Strength Finders is futuristic. So it's totally who I am. I can absolutely tell you that.
Yeah, I think
and
that's
so
funny.
you can probably see it. I mean,
It's funny that you say that, Kelly. I'm the strategist, and then my number one is consistency.
Yes.
Oh, that's so
Yes.
you too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I actually had a question, Anjali.
Yeah.
So it's like this. Add two. One would be, let's say if you're only a team of one or a team of two, how do you manage to be evenly kind of distributed? Like, how do you figure that out? Or even if you're a really big team, I know you're talking about product developers all on one team. Like, how do you make the balance? How do you create?
So you can't, so actually sometimes you have to be a little more intentional about the team that is formed. And so I'm not saying that one person is only a game changer. You might actually have proclivities in all of these. You just might have a very strong proclivity to one of them. So that's one. But if you have very low scores in one of them, you just do not have an energy for that. And so, you'll be miserable in that role. So if you have I can bring up a couple profiles, like say if you're a very low on implementer, and then if you're asked to do stuff, you'll probably not get it done. And people are going to be disappointed in you. Yeah. And so that's the thing to look for. So you can probably, even with two people, if both are either have some proclivity to each of these areas, kind of move forward without any problem. It is when one of these things is really, really low, even in the combination of the entire team, then your team's going to struggle.
I can see that because I'm looking at it. I feel like if I had to choose for myself, since we're a really small team, like I think I have like a little bit of the strategist and a little bit of the polisher in me too. But like the one area that like I know I do not have a strength in is like both Kelly and Monica's strength is the futuristic views of things. And I know that's why her and I love working with Monica, because we always joke about how like she just will throw out like crazy ideas and like, Nikki, what if we do this? And what if we and so she always gets me excited because she's always thinking of like way out of the box things. And then I'm like, I can take that and like make it happen. But like, yeah, I'm not a I'm not an idea person. Like she's,
But she needs you, right? Like
Yeah.
she needs you, because otherwise it'll just be ideas,
Yeah.
and they don't actually take life.
Mhm.
And so it's really important. Game changers and strategists and implementers and polishers, like all of them go together, and so that combination is really important. I'll tell you a little bit about how this has evolved for me, so that maybe it resonates for you as well.
Wait, Anjali, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What are you? I don't remember you telling me.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show
okay.
you. What do you want to guess?
oh Lord.
I'm gonna
Playmaker.
guess a polisher. That's my guess.
Polisher.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess playmaker.
Polisher or strategist?
I would guess strategist.
So before I took the profile, I was certain I was a strategist, playmaker, polisher, and I will reveal to you what I am shortly. All right, are we ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you how I came to all of this. You might be surprised to know, or maybe not, is that I went to school for electrical and computer engineering. I loved math, I loved patterns, I loved puzzles. And so I figured I can do this, and I went and found the career that I could get paid the best for the skills that I had. And so I went and got, probably the most challenging of the engineering careers. And I became a software engineer and then a technology leader. And I was in a company and an employee. And one of the things that I noticed, and I did well, I did fine. And the one thing that I noticed is that I was very uncomfortable in a really large company. I just felt out of sorts, like bored. And I was, I'm pretty much a rule follower. So it wasn't like I was frustrated with the rules or the bureaucracy, but it just did not energize me. And so I went into a smaller company and I enjoyed that a lot. And then I went to a startup and I loved it. I loved being able to wear many hats and do different things. And I was able to influence some ideas and all that stuff. But my heart was always in the people stuff, right? I enjoyed mentoring people. I remembered everybody's birthdays. I would take people, make sure that we had team lunches. There was all of that I would augment my technical capability and skills with on the people side. And it was good. And I spent most of my career doing this. But I started noticing what the other technical people on my team, how they just loved technology. I mean, they went home and they had their own pet technology project, and then they would read these books in technology. And I didn't really have an interest in that. I would just do what I needed to do to get my job done. I did the job well, but that was it. So I was kind of curious. I started becoming curious about what is going on here. Why can't I feel about technology like my coworkers felt about technology? So I started doing some introspection, and I became a little bit obsessed with doing all of these various assessments. I did like the DISC and the personality tests and the strengths finder, and these actually happened to be, for the last time I took my strengths finder, these what came out as my top strengths. But the first time I took it, every one of them came in the category of relationship management. Not even one in strategy or implementation or influencing. So that was kind of interesting. So I was like, okay, there's something here, but all of the careers that it was suggesting to me were be a teacher, be a nurse, be a counselor. And I was like, there's no money in it. I can do this technology stuff. I'm not going to change. And till I came a coach in a technical company. And I was like, oh my God, this is just made for me. This is just made for me. And so at that point, I made a transition. I left my job and I became an agile coach, facilitator, speaker. I brought some of my relationships management to a community that I formed, the South Florida Women in Agile, and I became an independent consultant. And my independent consulting role I didn't expect to be there, to land there. I was just kind of exploring what company that I wanted to actually end up in. But in the course of being an independent consultant, I realized I love being an independent. I love the creativity that emerged from me being on my own. I didn't have some boss to have to get permission from to do stuff. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And then, so I continued in this vein and continued with coaching, but my mind was always kind of in the future, right? Like I wanted to make things come to life, but I realized like this is my job. I need to do agile, process coaching and training. And then I did this profile, this game changer index. And this is what it came up for me. I am a game changer implementer, kind of like I have ability in all of these areas. I have proclivity in all of them, but my real proclivity is strongly in the area of game changer. And then I'm an implementer as well. So I can take my ideas and actually do something with them. I don't have to rely on somebody else to bring my ideas to life, but very much so somebody who's thinking into the future and trying to transform the future. And in recognizing this, I really started accepting who I am and bringing some of those future ideas, feeling much more confident to bring those future ideas to other people as well, and not just keeping it inside. So this is what I do now. I am a coach, but I feel much more aligned to bringing new topics as a workshop designer and facilitator and an advisor and speaker. And I think of myself as an entrepreneur much more than I did before. I'm able to actually, when somebody offers me a full-time job, really step back to think, do I have the space and room to be creative and innovative? Because otherwise they won't get the best of me. So this is my realization of how even knowing a lot about yourself, without knowing your proclivity, where you can make the biggest impact, you might still be playing it small, playing it safe. Knowing this was a big revealer for me. So having shared this, anything coming up for you in terms of like, this is resonating with you and your own story?
And I have a question. Is the proclivity that like something like you took a test and it gave you back those results, or you came up with them on your own?
No. You have to answer a series of questions, and it gives you a report that tells you your proclivity, and it gives you guidance on where you can make the most impact, how you show up as a leader, how you show up as a creative person. So for each profile, it kind of shares it with you. I'll share with you a couple other profiles so you can see that there's, it gives you really good signals as to where your impact can be.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it hit home what you said, because I've always been into like personality type tests like this. I've done the Strength Finder and some other stuff, but especially during like the beginning of COVID, when I was like, I don't think I should be doing this. I'm going to jump off my balcony. Like, I don't like my job. I'm not happy, because I don't think anybody did. I mean, I was like trying to be an FBI profiler. I swear to God, I was like trying to figure out my life. But I get the same thing. Like when I take tests, I watch Criminal Minds every day, and I'm like, that's what I need to do. But no, I'm not going to the FBI. Yeah. But I get the same thing. Everyone's like, everything's like, you should be a teacher. You should be a therapist or a counselor. And I'm like, I'm in IT, so yeah. I do feel sometimes that I'm, I was in sales and I got into IT, and sometimes like I just don't know. The part of my job where I get to connect with the users is my favorite part of the job. It's like more the IT stuff that I don't like, because that's not very fun. Like the issues and putting something really great out into the world that our sales associates get to love. Like that's my favorite part. So.
Yeah. What did you pick? What did you pick your proclivity as?
I picked Game Changer.
Yeah.
When we did it initially, yeah.
And but so even regardless of what role you play, you can actually bring, when you have a game changer proclivity, you have a natural, like you feel much more confident to bring your ideas to the table because you know that that's where it's going to create an impact. And you have to know how to communicate with other people to bring those ideas to them. Because if you're speaking to somebody who might be an implementer or a polisher, they might not be ready for your ideas that are way out in the future. So you kind of have to reframe how you share with them, recognizing that they just want to get the thing done. So how you communicate with them makes a difference. Yeah. Any other thoughts or comments about this?
Did you find taking these assessments helped you become a better entrepreneur or independent consultant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because it kind of reinforced what I was feeling. It almost like was a validation of like, oh, I'm not, the discomfort in my feeling is not unwarranted. I understand now where
that discomfort is coming from, right?
Where the discomfort is coming from, and it shows you where you can, kind of play to your strengths, like play to who you are. So it helped me in that way. It kind of just helped me accept the person I am.
Yeah.
A little more fully.
I feel like I'm later on in life that I'm starting to really gravitate towards get more insight on who I am, right? Not that I don't know who I am as a person, but really just figuring out those strengths or, proclivity that it makes me a better me, right?
Yes,
and I have to highlight those. So
that's right. And to know
I'm becoming an adult.
Yeah, I wish that even earlier in our lives we actually spend more time really understanding this, so that we don't waste all of our what we can bring into the world on things that dissipate our energy, or dissipate our what we can contribute, because what we are able to contribute is going to make a huge difference. Any of you in HR? I know that Nikki was. Yeah.
I'm a recruiter, so that's what I love to help people, but I also, I like to I do corporate, so I work on multiple roles. So I start to look at like the different. I'm constantly readjusting my search.
Yes, and so I'm going to show you a couple things that they do even for a group, for a team, to be able to see what percentage of a particular proclivity exists on a team. So depending on the type of team, you might need a different configuration. But even knowing, if you're able to actually recognize a person's natural proclivity and find the right role for them, imagine that they would just shine, right? Like I don't know if you all are familiar with this quote, but everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid.
Yeah.
Or in other words, from a game changer perspective, you don't have to be a game changer to make a game-changing impact. And knowing where you can create an amazing impact and you're able to play to that will make all of the difference, especially when we are on a team and we really need all of those other roles, just as we do game changers.
I think when you hear the word game changer, if someone references themselves, or you can reference someone as a game changer, you think like they're at the top of their game, but you don't have to be a game changer to be at the top of your game. Right?
That's right.
You can be a really strong implementer and be at the top of your game.
Yes. And many game changers, I'm sure that if they don't have strategists and implementers and polishers in their lives, are probably bums.
Yeah.
Because you can have that inclination and be frustrated with the work world and just
give up. Getting done. Right.
Yes. You need to have the other people around you. So a lot of artists probably are in this, are game changers as well. So just how can this help you? I have found that kind of being able to have this index will just give you the language to speak about how you can make a contribution, especially even if you're going to an interview or something, or if you're in a performance feedback session, you're able to actually re-articulate what you're doing based on the impact that you are creating and use those words. You're able to take advantage of the strengths because these are very much aligned to your strengths as well. Know where you can perform the best. Maybe select the company, the kind of company, the size of company where you can really shine. Like I noticed, I mean, I didn't have the Game Changer Index at the time, but what I realized is I don't do very well in a really large company. Not that I don't do well, but my energy is not there. But in a startup, oh my gosh. And it's because I was able to bring my ideas to life. In a really large company, that becomes very difficult. So if you're a large company and you're losing your game changers, that's a big problem because you need these people who are really thinking futuristically for your innovation teams, for your stealth teams, and nurture them in a way that they need to be nurtured in order to be able to get the best of them. Because if you put them in a regular team with all of the rules, which the rules, people who are polishers and people who are implementers love them. They like it. The strategists like it. It's the game changers that don't. So just knowing that, I think, can make a big difference in your recruiting, in how you construct your teams, and how you nurture the people.
Is this a good idea to have your team take an assessment like this and share their results?
Absolutely, like, because now you can see the gifts the other people bring to the table as well. So here are some kind of the profile for a team. You'll get a result like this. So it tells you on your particular team what percentage of your team has, you know, game changers and what percentage are implementers. So here you have game changer implementers, and then you have very little strategists. Now, if you don't need a lot of strategists, they're just an implementation team, you might be fine. But maybe these game changers, if there's too many of them on the team, you might actually have a struggle in moving things forward because they're always thinking of new ideas. So depending on the kind of team that you have, you might not need too many game changers, you know? So just to kind of keep that in mind. And then it gives you a breakdown of each person. So you can actually see who are the polishers on your team. And I find that polishers, you know, they're great at QA, the Scrum Masters, if you have an agile team, they make, you know, polishers make great Scrum Masters, QA team members, etc. And then you can also get a whole organizational profile. So depending on, like, if it's the board, what kind of configuration are you looking for, and if it's a growth markets versus core markets, and what does the configuration of your whole organization look like? So this profile kind of shares that with you. It's pretty popular in Europe. So these are all the companies that use the GC index. That's what it's called, the GC index. But it's much more popular in Europe than it is in the United States at the moment. But I think it's gaining some traction here, and I just find it fascinating and interesting, and it has helped me. So I try to bring it to people who might be interested in this as well. So if you're interested in learning more about it or want to, you know, do a profile, I also have as a partner a free profile that I can do, one free profile for a new company that I introduced to this. So if you want to take advantage of that and see what it might bring up for you, I'm happy to do that as well. But feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to share more information about this.
I think this is pretty interesting. Really. Like, I think, like, as you're talking and as you're showing the different screens, I'm like thinking of times throughout my life that, like, especially as I've gotten older and worked at different types of companies or size of companies, like you're mentioning, and being in different roles, like thinking about where I've been the happiest, and it's kind of clicking of like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I know when you were talking about the size of the company, and I think maybe this goes along with, what was it, mine again? The playmaker, is that I've always just said things, not thinking about it in this terms, but like, I'll joke with people say, oh, what do you do for a living? And so that I don't have to explain all the different hats that I wear and things that I do. I just go, oh, I'm a people connector. That's what I do for a living. Like, I work with people, and that's kind of literally what I do. And then, like, I know for me, thinking about, like, you know, when you reference like the size of jobs, I've always liked working where I can work with the most amount of people and make the largest impact. Because I know once in my life, I worked for like a really large company, and I hated it because, like, we had a pretty good sized team, and, like, kind of without going into the whole whole story, we created like an event, and basically we used all these different people and these different connections that we had, and we basically, like, our numbers or our goal for the team that month, we exceeded it by like 150%. And I no joke, I got yelled at by the national manager of the company, saying that we didn't do it, like we did it outside of the box. And so, like, I just realized, like, my personality is like, I'll follow rules and regulations and things to a certain point, but if I can't, like, use my connections and think outside the box, and like, I don't enjoy it. Like,
You probably have some game changer quality in you as well, proclivity. Probably game changer, playmaker or something. Well, if you want to do your profile, let me know.
Yeah, no, I find it interesting. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I hope this was helpful to you. And I'm always happy